Welcome, huge movie fanatic Nate. Once again joined by State of Flux Matt. Check him out on State of Flux, his own movie review channel. Here we're coming at you for a very interesting discussion because the last time, well not the last time this year, but prior to this year, the last time you and I had actually done in-person reviews was I think before Jordan Peele had ever made a movie, correct? And since then he's done 3 films, 2 of which I like, the first not really liking so much, and I'm very curious and excited about. Matt says, so maybe we can talk a little bit about it at the end. Matt says he's connected to a possible People Under the Stairs remake or reimagining or whatever. Honestly, with him behind it, that really excites me. Oh, on another level, I'm a huge fan of his produced Candyman film. We can talk
which he
about,
co-wrote. Yes.
Yeah, co-wrote and produced. We can talk about that
absolutely.
as well. Maybe do this in chronological order.
Yeah, perfect.
So, what did he do before he wrote and directed his first movie? What was he doing?
So he was a comedy writer.
So sorry, we're here to talk about Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele, he was a comedy writer. I believe he worked for MTV, but then he had his own show, Key and Peele, with Keegan-Michael Key, and then Jordan Peele. And it was like a sketch comedy thing with sort of a race element as the lingering segment.
Of course.
Which makes perfect sense.
Because he's a human.
In 2016, he made a movie called Keanu. Have you watched that one? That's
is that the one with the dog? Or?
It's the cat. It's a little kitten, and it's essentially
like a comedy?
It's like a comedy.
Is it a
John Wick.
Raunchy comedy?
Not too raunchy. It's
what
kind
was
of
it
like
rated?
It was rated R. It is rated R, but it's rated R for like violence and swearing, not for like nudity or anything like that. So it depends on your definition of raunchy.
Well, yeah, nasty humor.
Their kitten gets stolen, and these 2 guys kind of bumble into a world of like the mafia and stuff like that. And
okay, yeah, the title is familiar in the poster.
It's one of the best trailers I've ever watched, and if you watch the trailer for the movie, I think the trailer is better than the movie itself, but the movie had a lot of promise at portraying genre and how genre can be played with in a comedic level, and I like the movie.
Okay.
But I do think that trailer is like one of the best trailers of the past decade. So then, just like I think 8 months after Keanu came out was Get Out.
Okay, his first writing and directing. It was his first directing film as director?
I think he directed Keanu. I'd have to go back and check. But that was a much smaller budgeted film and stuff like that.
So the thing that kind of put him on the map, Get Out.
Yes.
Written and directed by Jordan Peele. Okay.
Yes.
I guess, is this going to be kind of, a review of all of his 3 films?
Yeah.
We'll just bunch them into one video. What the hell?
Yeah. So Get Out was one that I went to my theater to watch on opening night with my wife. We got a babysitter. We went to the theater, and it was sold out. But there was no pre-sales.
You took the babysitter to the movie?
Yes. There were no pre-sales for the film. It just kind of sprung up in popularity out of nowhere. Now, I know the reviews had been incredibly strong.
Word of mouth?
And word of mouth. And usually word of mouth affects like Saturday and Sunday. Not so much on Friday. So the fact that it was completely sold out.
By the end of Friday?
By the end of Friday, and we went to like an 8 o'clock show. We couldn't get into the movie. So I ended up seeing the Lego Batman movie, which came out the same day. Fun fact. So I didn't get around to seeing Get Out until it came out on DVD. I just didn't have time. And so when it came out on DVD, I watched the film, and I was like, this movie is good, but I think it's very overrated, because I had been hearing nothing but great things. And something that I do is I'm a big tracker of the Oscars and stuff like that, and when this movie got nominated for as many Oscars as it did, I have Oscar viewing parties where I get people together at my house, or I did at the time. Stop this.
Oh, that's I'm gonna bleep that because I don't like that word. So that word is bleeped.
I would get people together from the day the Oscars were announced, the nominees were announced, to the Oscar night. we'd get together every Sunday and watch one of the nominated films.
Just for the record, people not including me. That's fine. I mean, we're just acquaintances, not friends.
I apologize.
No, well, I don't. You might know that I hate Oscars anyway. So
that is exactly what it is.
So grumpy every time. What the hell are we watching now?
So one of the first ones that got selected was Get Out. So I watched it a second time, and upon second viewing, I saw all the stuff that other people had seen, and I think I was just coming from it from the perspective of like, I don't like everybody is saying this is the greatest movie in the world to the point where no movie could have hit those levels.
Lived up to it.
So when I watch a movie, and it does have flaws here and there, I was able to respect the movie a lot more the second time. And then it was really weird, like after the movie won for Best Screenplay, I watched it a third time, the day after the Oscars, because by this point I'd purchased it. And I was like, this really is really good. And I've seen it 3 more times since then, and it's one of those kind of rare movies where every single time you watch it is significantly better than the last, at least from my personal experience. You sound like you're a little cooler on the movie.
Yeah, well, it sounds like the more you watch it, the more you like it. Granted, I've seen it, I think, twice, and it's been quite a long time since I have last. Maybe if I found it for like $3 at half price, I'd get it and give it a shot. But I would imagine maybe it's on some streaming maybe that I have or something. But
I'm sure.
I guess the main reason out of all his 3 films, the reason that I generally don't like it is because it's so like race-based, and I'm just not. I mean, even if it's not, I can't remember not being very familiar with it. But I mean, well, no, that is kind of a big plot point in it, isn't it? Don't the white people always comment on?
Yeah, it's definitely like a race perspective.
That's the thing that I just can't get past that, and it annoys me. And always having to just see characters do that. But having said that, I don't even like saying I don't like that phrase, and sometimes I say it, and then I get disgusted at my. You want to say something?
Well, what I was just going to say was, I think also expectations have a lot of going into it. Not only was everybody saying it was like the greatest movie of all time, to the point when I saw it, everybody was saying it was a great horror movie. And when I watched that movie, I don't see it as a horror movie. It has certainly thriller and horror elements. But I don't think, as a filmmaker, Jordan Peele is particularly good with horror. What he is good with is presenting an element, what I like to call the Twilight Zone, which is ironic because he ended up remaking the Twilight Zone.
Series?
The series. But it felt like a great episode of the Twilight Zone, where there's just this unhinged eeriness that lingers, that isn't quite horror, but you can't really categorize it as anything but horror. It's a weird kind of feel, and I think
almost a new subgenre.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even say it's a new subgenre because I would classify most of M. Night Shyamalan's movies the same way.
Oh, yeah.
They're not really horror, but you can't really categorize most of them as anything but horror. Like his thriller doesn't really cut it because oftentimes they're very slow and almost methodic in their pacing and stuff like that. Jordan Peele operates the same way, just at a more consistent level.
What I was gonna say is that I don't really like all what the movie's about, but what I did appreciate and understand the competency is, and the thing is, I was disappointed that I didn't like it, or that so much of the race elements put me off to this movie because of the fact that I was like, wow, visually I like what this guy does. And that's one thing that I can remember was a huge part. My favorite part about the film is just the way it's shot and cut. And I haven't seen it in years. I've only seen it twice, but I'm pretty sure that was a strong element. And one thing that I really tend to gravitate towards, and there's so much moving camera these days, is just static shots. And it seems to me there's a lot of that in this movie. Yeah. And I really love when a director, especially in the 21st century, can just like stop fucking moving and just like, there, camera. And visually, I can remember that this is really well done.
It is a well shot movie. I'd also throw in the performances across the board are really great. But Allison Williams is pretty on point, and then Daniel Kaluuya, I can't pronounce his last name. He's a fantastic actor. I had no idea that dude was British until like years afterwards.
Oh yeah, good accent. Good American accent.
Holy cats, he does a great job. But I loved Get Out. It's my personal favorite of Jordan Peele's.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, I guess unless you have more to say.
Do you want to go? Do you want to go for it and do stars?
So easy 4-star movie. For me.
Okay.
Like it's the first time I saw it. Even then, I liked it a lot. I just thought it was overrated. I probably would have given it a very firm 3 stars, if not 3.5. But at this point, it is an easy 4-star movie.
I don't know if I can remember enough to give it. I guess from what I can remember about it, and how even though the subject matter is kind of puts me off, like the technical aspects of it is so good that I can go as high as 2 stars out of 4 stars
Fair
for
enough.
Get Out. Now on to should I? Who started with Get Out?
I started with Keanu. You started Get Out.
Oh,
I think.
okay. So you can move us on to
I'll
us.
move us to us.
Move us to us.
Or US, depending on how you look at it.
What is that? How you look at it?
Yeah, I think it's a statement on the United States.
Oh, U.S. I
Yeah.
see.
That's so. It's us, but
But it's also
it's a movie
a
about
statement about America.
America, the U.S. I think it's
With heavy Chud influences. Now,
there's the amount of
and Chud, the VHS, the Star
Yeah.
Maker VHS is.
the amount of horror callbacks in this movie is great. So Us is his probably firmest horror movie, not counting Candyman, in this most traditional sense. And it's dealing with something that I've always liked in kind of science fiction media, which is the other us kind of element, the body snatchers and what have you.
The id.
Yes, it is a grueling, creepy movie that never gets outright scary. It just has this unease about it the entire time, with fantastic performances across the board. But Lupita Nyong'o in that movie is breathtakingly good, indescribably good as playing the roles.
Agreed. And before I forget, hold that thought. I love the opening credits where it's just zooming out of a rabbit in a cage or something.
Yeah.
And then is it a bunch of rabbits in cages? I can't
Yes.
remember. Okay. Great opening shot, credits, whatever.
It is.
Is that the opening credits?
Yeah, and it's it had a feel similar to Cabin in the Woods in that sense to me, of right from the opening shot you realize you're going to be part of something that's a lot bigger than you narratively expected. But yeah, I like the movie quite a bit. I'm trying to remember my biggest complaint with the movie is it starts with that opening in the funhouse where Lupita Nyong'o's younger self meets her other, and
Chud. I think they call them Chuds.
yeah, and I figured out the end of the movie in that moment, I guess, is my only complaint. Where I was like, all right, this is really great, but I immediately figured out what the twist was going to be. And I'm not going to spoil the twist for you if you haven't seen it. But my wife watched it with me, and she had no idea up until the ending. She, however, did not like this movie. And I think for the same reasons that I was a little initially softer on Get Out, she thought it was a straightforward balls-to-the-wall horror movie, and it wasn't.
Did you say what she thought of Get Out?
Oh, she liked Get Out at the time better than I did, but I've grown to like it more
gotcha.
than her. She likes Get Out quite a bit.
Okay.
Us, she was a little I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. It's interesting. It's a movie that asks a lot of the viewer to sort of internalize everything that they've watched and reflect. But I do think the film has overt statements that it's trying to make independent of that. Because that's a criticism I had of a film like Prometheus. Ridley Scott makes a movie, puts it all out there, and he's like, you figure it out. And to a lesser extent, Jordan Peele kind of does that with Us, but at the same time, he's making clear statements throughout the film anyway that can help you connect the dots of what the movie's ultimately trying to get to. So I don't ding Jordan Peele for that, whereas if you've heard our Prometheus review, I was very anti-Prometheus.
Feel free to check out our now, 11-year-old Prometheus review.
Yeah. Going back in the day. What did you think of Us?
So, strangely enough, Beth and I saw this movie, a second billing at a drive-in. I can't even remember what the movie we went to see was. And we didn't go to see this or with any intention of really seeing this. It was the second movie after whatever we went to see, which ironically I can't even remember what we went to see.
I'm trying to think of movies that came out around the same time. Captain Marvel, maybe? I'm trying to remember. I
can't remember if we saw that. It could have been, yeah, I have no idea. But we did see it as a second billing of probably a triple feature back in the RIP, the drive-in that's that's the fun. I wanted to go with him way back in the day, and
I still have never been to a drive-in.
Well, you may never, so
yeah.
Good one. But I wanted to not take him, but go together with him and possibly the missus or whatever.
Yeah.
That never
that
happened.
Would have been cool.
That never happened. So oh well. But anyway, we saw it. To make a long story not as long, we saw it at the drive-in and were very, very, having already seen, I can't remember if we'd seen Get Out together, probably. Having already seen that and know it was the same guy, we weren't expecting much because I don't think Beth really cared much for Get Out either. So we were like, holy crap, I guess something can be said for maybe going into a movie with like no and or low expectations.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it would have been the same even if we had some expectations. We were pretty impressed with this movie and just what it did. And honestly, I haven't seen it for a while. I can't remember everything about it, but that'll be good because it'll make the video shorter.
Yeah.
But as a whole, very impressed and agreed that the actress was amazing. And what I loved, one of the things I loved about it is, let's face it, they're, darker complected family. But one thing I loved about it is that they were like an upscale. We're actually presenting an upscale, darker complected family, and that was like kind of refreshing. And they weren't all ghetto speak. They were just like people, and kind of the exact opposite for me of Get Out. That was something I greatly appreciated about this movie. But not only that, what the movie does, and if you haven't seen the movie, see it. And if you haven't, you might not know what I'm talking about. But what the movie does, I thought was interesting. For me, the story or what the movie did probably wasn't as interesting as simply I enjoyed the characters and the family dynamic and just the dialogue and the humor that was with part of the family dynamic.
Yeah.
Probably more so than the whatever you'd want to say creepy elements. I think one thing I can remember that annoyed me is what did didn't the female version of the Chud character, didn't she make some annoying noise or something with her mouth?
I think she was
she talks like...
Yeah, she talks as she's breathing in.
So it's like this vocal fry
which
to
is
the extreme.
Opposite of how people talk.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the way, I don't know if that's how all the Chuds talk, but I know that for sure she talked like that, and it annoyed the shit out of me.
Oh, interesting.
So that was probably my least favorite part about the movie. I just thought it was a stupid artistic choice, frickin' annoying. But other than that, I thought the movie was entertaining.
I was just gonna say before I forget, I like the use of Hands Across America as like the framing point of the movie too.
I forgot all about that. And what we said earlier is sometime in the movie, a Star Maker VHS release of Chud can be seen.
Yeah.
Next to a TV stacked on a pile of VHS
with
or
like
whatever.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
and like a lot of other. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was my favorite part. Just kidding, but yeah, I forgot about the Hands Across America. That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
And so, what would my star rating? I don't know. For this, it'd probably be. Maybe I could go as high as like 3 1/4 stars out of 4 stars for me. For us, definitely for me, an improvement over Get Out.
I give it 3.5. I think it's very good. I thought it was a little over long, and it didn't have as firm of a statement that it was trying to make like Get Out was. Get Out, I think, is a very solid. This one asks the viewer to kind of connect the dots and stuff, which I liked, but at the same time is being artistically vague. Is it because the artist is really good, or the artist doesn't know how to articulate what they're trying to say?
That is a great point. It's kind of like artistically vague, intentional, or incompetent.
Yeah, so like that's where I kind of approach it from, and I would imagine it's intentional. Like every element of the movies, all of his movies seem very like specifically thought out.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's just kind of unusual that there's like some elements that are confusing or like, what does this mean? But like the imagery of the film is so great. Like I did like her breathing in as she's speaking, which is basically impossible to do.
The opposite of...
It's an opposite. And
well,
like
because she's the opposite of...
Yeah, and like the weapon of choice was a scissors, which is two blades that are like inverse of each other.
Hey.
And like it's visually everything is kind of fascinating, and also scissors are rabbit ears, and that's what, hence all the rabbits and stuff like that. There's so much going on with this movie that it's easy to love, but also overlong and has like just unusual stretches where I'm trying to you lose. There's so much you're getting hit with. You kind of lose focus of what's happening because you're trying to figure out what just happened, and so like it causes repeat viewings. But for a first-time viewer, is really like disorienting.
Gotcha. In closing with my Us review, I just, like I say, I can't stress how much just the comedic stuff that happens with like the family dynamic. I remember the dad being pretty fun.
He was good.
And the performer, not only the character, but the performer being fun.
Yeah, Winston Duke, I believe, is the actor. He was in the Black Panther movies as he's the guy with the gorilla mask. If you've watched Black Panther, he's great. But anyway.
Shall we move on to, so now we can move on to his produced and partly written Candyman?
Yes.
So I was blown the hell away when I saw this. I saw it for free on streaming, I think it was Prime or something, not expecting much, not being a huge Candyman fan, but I did end up buying recently used for under $10 the Scream Factory Blu-ray release, which has got like unrated and theatrical on 2 different discs. And having actually watched the original one again, it's like Candyman is actually I actually kind of like it now, and it's very unique for an early 80s horror movie, so maybe I'll have to, or myself or with him someday or something like that, actually review the first movie. I don't think I ever have on this channel. But talking about like the Jordan Peele one from whenever it was it 2019 or 18, somewhere around there?
It was 2021.
Oh, why do I keep thinking it was 19? Okay, well, very recent Jordan Peele part written and produced Candyman. I was freaking blown away, and this is coming from a guy not even really caring about the franchise. I thought it's I haven't seen all the sequels. I saw the second one back in the day. I haven't seen any more. But out of one, like who has? But comparing 1 and 2 to like this new one, I thought it was like the best Candyman. What they did with it, I thought it was the best one. And it was just like, wow. I just thought it was really great. Oh, I guess it's a sequel to the original film.
It's a legacy sequel, and but it's a stealth legacy sequel. They didn't sell you that this was a legacy sequel. It just happened to become one.
And that was really kind of cool.
Yeah.
And with the whole trend of like Halloween having the same title as the 40-year-old sequel, this is just doing the same thing. Yeah. Candyman, which like you said, just happens to become a legacy sequel. The probably one of the most amazing sequels maybe in the 21st century that I've ever seen, or just in general. It's an amazing sequel companion piece to the first film. Maybe I'll let you take on from there. Yeah. I was really impressed.
So I really like the first Candyman. That's one of my favorite, like if you ask me to come up with my 10 favorite horror movies of the 90s, that's easily going to be on that. And it'd probably be pretty high on that list. Like, I think the only filmmaker who'd have movies higher on that list would be Wes Craven. I really liked the first Candyman. And so I had seen, Farewell to the Flesh? Is that the second one?
I think so.
And I was like, heavens, that movie it's not the same. And it's not an esoteric horror movie, kind of like the first one is. It's more of just a straightforward slasher with no real ideas, whereas like the first one is a movie laced with ideas. Farewell to the Flesh was not good. I never saw the third one because of it. So the new Candyman, the only reason I was interested in it at all was because of the Jordan Peele aspect.
Same thing. I'm like, I could get behind. I'm interested in it because of Jordan Peele.
Yeah, and this was still at a time when theaters were not having like huge turnout. This was one of the first ones, I think, next to Godzilla vs. Kong or weirdly Mortal Kombat and Demon Slayer, that had audience turn up to it that wasn't a Marvel movie.
Oh yeah.
And so I saw it on the Saturday it came out. And my wife, she liked the first Candyman as well. And we were both really, really impressed with the movie.
Isn't it
Like,
something?
My only problem with the movie is I think it's at its worst when it's being a sort of slasher movie.
I can understand that.
And what's weird is it's all really well shot. All the horror movie stuff, especially the scene where you're just following what's happening to the girls getting killed in the bathroom on the mirror of like the person.
Yeah.
Like, beautifully shot, excellently shot. But it's so distracting from the rest of the story that I liked more.
Here's what you're probably experiencing. The movie was way more engaging from a story standpoint than you thought. So for you, the horror element kind of takes away and distracts from the unbelievably much more better story than we thought was going to be in this thing.
Yeah, I agree. And this ended up being one of my 5 favorite movies the year it came out. And so, like, if you looked at my list of, like, the 5 movies, it was all kind of these really well-written prestige movies, and then Candyman. And so people would be like, which one of these is not like the other? And I'm like, no, I promise you, it is that good. And I stand by it. Candyman slaps.
I can just see, I don't know what the hell all those prestige movies are, but, you know, this, that, Schindler's List, Candyman,
Yeah.
you know.
I think Candyman did come out the same year as Schindler's List, didn't it? That was 93, right?
No, 92 Candyman.
Oh, it was 92?
Very close, yeah.
Darn.
Damn it.
Because that probably wouldn't make my 93 list. But anyway, back to this one. I really liked it. I thought the actor in the lead actor was super good. I can't remember his name.
Oh my God. And the fact that he was an artist was just the perfect trade or whatever to have him be.
The whole beehive imagery and stuff, and like having like the beehive kind of showing up in his skin and stuff like that was so unsettling, and like it was horror, like body horror at like its best. I'm not a huge fan of body horror, but I thought this was really well
What's
used.
body horror? Just scary?
Sort of like The Fly is a body horror.
Oh, the body turns into...
Body decomposing, body gross things happening to. I thought this was an excellent use of body horror.
Is that your own term, body horror?
No, that's sort of a, I think it's more of a literary term.
Okay, there you go.
But it's...
Body horror. The motion picture, you probably wouldn't see it.
No, I wouldn't. But I thought it was really effective in this. And I liked the Candyman himself and how it ties into how police system and stuff like that is
correct.
very fractured and flawed. And
this is a post, and we're not going to say his name because it's kind of like the C word.
But the thing is it's a This movie was supposed to come out in June of 2020. So
okay.
like
So they made
this
it
movie
before.
was fully made before that,
Okay.
and had it come out in June of 2020, I think this movie would have been the biggest box office earner of like that year.
Well, not that anyone
Just
was
because
allowed
it
to
was,
go to the theater.
yeah, pretty much. But like, if it had come out at that time, it was so on the finger of the pulse of what was happening in society. It's jaw-dropping how accurate that this movie gets it.
Okay.
But I like how you get the repeated story of how this established boogeyman comes to be.
Throughout the generations or
through
whatever.
the generations, and it's just a manufactured idea put out by like society that person that's kind of weird is truly the boogeyman, and we're going to call it the Candyman. And then you find out this story and how time repeats, and then how it ties into the first movie, and then how Tony Todd shows up in the film. And like that final scene is so
If
great.
I would have been a little more pansy of a guy, I probably would have, like, some tears. My eyes probably would have watered because that was done so well at the end.
I
Are you
got
pansy enough?
goosebumps.
Oh, okay.
Like,
So you're a little
during
more
that scene.
pansy. I didn't get goosebumps. He's pansy enough to get goosebumps.
I'm
was just kidding.
It's fine. I was absolutely blown away with that, and I've watched it a couple of times. It holds
God,
up.
what
It's
a
a
great-
good movie. Great looking film. I think Nia DaCosta directed the film. She's doing the sequel to Captain Marvel.
that a
is
good thing?
coming out. I liked Captain Marvel. She did a great job with this, so I'm excited to see what she does with Marvels. I think that comes out in, as of now, November, but with the strike, who knows?
Okay, but
but I give Candyman 4 stars.
I'd probably have to go as high as 4 stars. Completely blew me out of the water, and that's coming from a position of, okay, by now Jordan Peele, after liking Us, I had expectations, but see, being Candyman I didn't, but being Jordan Peele I did, and I couldn't believe how this was like a sequel, and just this is how to do like a love letter. What a great love letter to the well, you can't really say franchise because the only good movie is the first one.
Yeah.
What a great love letter to the original movie, and talk about a phenomenal sequel. Was it nearly 30 years later?
Yeah.
And even having, I want to say that original actress is
Virginia Madsen. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about, was it Angela Bassett?
It's not.
Am I confusing that?
It's a different actress, but
Okay.
she does reprise her role from the first movie.
Right. Yeah, it's not
what's her
Angela
name?
Bassett. Oh well.
Yeah.
Damn it.
We'll write it in the comments.
Maybe I'll put it on the screen.
Also,
Sorry.
I just want to throw this out there too. Like, for Candyman, somebody that's called repeatedly and stuff like that by saying the name over and over again and whatnot, and then tying that into police brutality, where public response to that is by saying the person's name over and over again so that we never forget who they were, and tying in the horror element to that. Oh my God, that was so brilliant to me.
What a great way to take the already established idea of the first film and tie it in with more, I guess, contemporary goings on, if you will.
It's brilliant. It's genuinely brilliant. I love that. Candyman's great. So,
4 stars. If you haven't seen it, and even if you don't like the first movie, this movie might make you appreciate. I think it kind of did that for me. It almost made me appreciate the first movie more.
And it also repaints kind of what you watch in the first movie, because it doesn't disrupt anything you see outside of the Candyman presented in that one is exclusively Tony Todd, and this one is a shifting Candyman.
Which I thought was a great idea.
Yeah.
Like if someone told you like there's different Candymans in this movie, you'd probably think like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but absolutely.
But then the way they do it, it's like, oh my God.
And the fact that this movie didn't make as much of a splash, like it had a great opening weekend, but
so
then it
much
just
better
kind of,
than like Halloween.
Yeah, like this movie should, and I think Halloween was the problem, because Halloween Kills, if memory serves, came out just like 2 weeks or something after
damn
this.
Halloween Kills.
Or 3 weeks. It was a truncated amount of time, and that one kind of overlapped it, and I'm like, that movie? But whatever. So Jordan Peele's next film was Nope.
From last year.
And
before he gets started, I'll simply say that out of all the films that came out last year, this is my favorite. Of course, I probably saw 3 of them, but out of the ones I saw from last year, this is my favorite. I've already reviewed it.
Nope is a pretty cool movie. I like the film. Of all of his movies, this is my least favorite of his.
So does it go exactly backwards for you?
Well, I guess Candyman would be my second favorite.
But it's not directed by him.
But it's not directed. So in terms of directed by, it goes backwards.
Interesting.
That said, I really liked this movie, and I've only seen it the one time. So I'm wondering if a second viewing would change my perspective on it a little bit. Because I was anticipating something different than what we got. I knew ahead of time that it was going to be aliens. But I don't know what it was that I was expecting. However, this movie, also kind of similar to Us, has so many ideas and asks the viewer, I think, even more than Us did to interpret what we saw. However, what I did like about the movie is how it showed filmmaking sensationalism and the desperate search for the ever-expanding bigger movie, the bigger moment, the biggest spectacle possible.
And with select action, event scenes being filmed in like 65 millimeter film.
And it looks great. Oh my God, it looks great. And the cast is just fantastic. Who's the villain in The Crow? I can never remember
I don't know
dude's
the
name.
actor's name.
But he's in this, and he's got a presence, but his presence of voice is what matters.
Yeah,
most.
it's that guy's voice.
Yeah, he's fucking great in the movie. But yeah, I dug it. Nope is it's a good movie. I think my biggest problem with it was I didn't like the look of the creature at the end of the movie when it becomes kind of a giant kite.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Or a jellyfish. Everybody says it's like a jellyfish, but
No, I can understand that.
but it just lost all reality to me because like some alien on some level has to look realistic to me, and that one just didn't fly. Well, it did fly. Anyway, let's pass it on to you.
You're wrong again.
I am wrong.
I'm going to do abbreviated, having already reviewed the movie and whenever I did over the
I'm going to have
winter.
to check out your review.
Yeah,
here.
feel free to check in.
I also have a review on my channel. You can listen to that. I think I did a spoiler and non-spoiler review in one video because I didn't want to record twice.
I just hate pushing that button.
Yeah.
But I thought it was. I didn't know what the hell it was about before it came out. But seeing stuff on the internet, was he trying to keep it a secret what it was about, or was he not?
Yeah, a lot of people kind of guessed it early on. I remember
because he was looking up at the sky.
it'd be the poster of the sky, and then Nope, and apparently if you're a fan of the right boards and stuff, everybody knows that Nope stands for Not of Planet Earth, and I had never heard that before. But
I hadn't either.
Yeah, so that's what truly Nope means, is Not of Planet Earth.
Oh, interesting.
So,
And they kind of integrate the word into the movie because the guy says,
Nope, yeah.
rolls up the window. The humor in this movie I thought was great among just the event things and the 65 millimeter and stuff. I think what I said in my review is just I love the organic way that this movie just unfolds, and it's just like, once again, the characters aren't quite as interesting as the family dynamic in Us because there's not much. There's just like brother and sister, but it's a tragic way to start the movie by having the dad die, and at the time you don't know why. And what I love about it is it doesn't give you any explanations until later on. You find out what happened. You're like, oh, that's what happened. And the mystery of not knowing exactly how the quarter or whatever the hell got in his eye is kind of interesting at the beginning.
It is. It's fascinating. Also, like the stuff with Dark Miracles, but the scariest thing Jordan Peele has ever made to this day is the chimping out and like slaughtering those actors.
It's interesting because I don't know if I say this in my review, but the whole chimp and the TV sitcom aspect of this movie, I don't know, and maybe you do, why the hell it's in this movie.
I think it reflects. I can't remember specifically anymore. I covered it in my review because I do remember talking about it because a lot of people would ask me what I took the meaning of the movie to be, and I was like, I'm not necessarily sure, but I think it might be this, and I can't remember what that is anymore.
Watch his review.
Yeah, check out my review. I'll post it in the comments section down below. But,
okay. I thought you were going to say in the description, I'm like, yeah, how are you going to do that? It's my channel.
Yeah, no. But they talk about Dark Miracles and the fact that the Stephen Yeun character saw like the Dark Miracle standing that day with the shoe and stuff like that, and the idea of like alien life kind of being a parallel to a Dark Miracle, that giving that character like this ego that he can survive anything when he just gets immediately obliterated once the alien comes back in.
So the TV sitcom thing might be there just for the shoe that's standing up?
Yeah, I think so. And I can't remember this. I remember what it was. It's a parallel to animal cruelty, essentially. Like, we think we have ownership over these animals, but they are their own. That's what it was.
Okay.
They are their own beings. They are going to do what they're going to do, and we can like tame them to some extent, but we can never truly do so. They are what they are, and that's what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to harness this alien to their will, so they can capture it and make money off of it, just like a racehorse, just like the chimp. And stuff. So that was the connection.
There you go. Thank you for connecting.
I just had to delve back into like 2022 Matt's review. I saw it last July. It would have been around this day too, because it came out like July 22nd, if memory serves.
Hey, cool. All right.
So I saw it like after the opening weekend. I saw it like the first Monday or Tuesday it came out. So anyway.
Okay.
I give it 3 stars. It's very good.
I can't remember what the starage was. I don't know if it was 4. You'd think it was if it was my favorite of the year. You know what? I don't know what the hell my star rating is for it. I guess I'll just, right now, I'll say, you know what? Maybe it was like 3 3/4 because there were, like the chimp stuff I didn't, but until you kind of explained what it was there for, I didn't understand why the chimp stuff was there. So, you know what? Having now known that, maybe I'll just, for right now, kick it up to 4. It was my favorite film of 2022 of, like I say, the 3 movies or 4 movies that I saw last year. So
Yeah.
and then in closing, unless you've got more to say about Nope, to People Under the Stairs?
He's doing People Under the Stairs, which my understanding is coming out in 2024. I don't know where that is along the development stage. I just know that he announced that at the same time he was doing publicity for Nope. I am all for him doing People Under the Stairs. I don't know if it's one that, like Candyman, he plans to write and produce only, or if he's going to direct as well.
Well, you know, I mean, we love Candyman so much you don't even have to direct it.
Yeah, I mean, like, whoever he can get, if he has that script as strong as he did for Candyman, I am there. People Under the Stairs is one of my favorite films, and for a movie that is so immersed, much like Candyman, in like the urban experience, but through the vision of like white filmmakers, it's probably a good idea for a person who is from an urban experience to be writing the movie and guiding a hand, and maybe that's why the remake of Candyman was more exceptional than what Clive Barker did with it for the first one. And,
definitely an appropriate person to,
to tackle something.
Yeah, take a stab at it, seeing as how, the first time around it was Whitey.
Yeah, and like, nothing against Clive Barker or Wes Craven. Wes Craven's my favorite filmmaker, but it's great that he was able to tell this story very thoughtfully from his perspective on the urban experience. I feel like I want to see Jordan Peele's what Jordan Peele can do with that same or similar idea. So that's where I land.
Yeah, actually, my expectations are kind of high, I must admit, after Candyman for People Under the Stairs, Jordan Peele's version.
Yeah.
Guess that pretty much does it for this video. If you're done,
I'm done.
Thanks a lot this is probably a really long video. Thanks a lot if you're still watching. And even if you're not still watching, thanks a lot. Catch you on the next video. As always, hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Peace.